What's up, race fans? It's Friday, May 17th, and this is the official podcast of the Orange County Fair Speedway. We call it Talkin' Dirty with Jake, and I'm your host, Jake. Let's start the show. So, we had rain, not rain, whatever you want to call it, situation last Saturday. We didn't have features other than the street stock guys. I have a long interview today, so I'm going to skip the race recap. If you want to catch up on what happened with the street stocks in their feature, please check out our website, go to the news section, go to the race recap section. You can read right up about the race and the qualifying events that we did manage to get in. So go check that out. Even better place to go check that out if you're on your phone. Please go onto the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store and get yourself the official Orange County Fair Speedway app. It's brand new, just released. It's still in development. We're still adding features. Right now, it is what it is, and we want you to go grab that, and you can stay up to date with everything that's going on there. It's really the best way to view all our content on your phone. So definitely check that out. Next order of business. Saturday, May 18th, Little League night. Free admission to youth sports participants in their uniforms. This includes high school students in their local high school sports uniforms. You're all admitted for free. The first 300 kids in sports uniforms are getting themselves some cool vintage OCFS felt pennants. And also to celebrate the theme of Little League night, we've got New York Mets great Dwight Doc Gooden. He's going to be signing autographs and hanging out with fans in the Champions Plaza area, hanging out by the 31st lap. So that's pretty cool. And it's going to be a cool night. We're running two of the held over features from last week. The $6,000 big block race from the 666 Devil Made Us Do It racing. So we won't know if anybody's getting the sweep this Saturday night. We'll have to wait till July 13th's All-Star Sprint show, where we'll run twin small block features, one of which will be that other $6,000 race, and we'll know then if we have a sweeper. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, looking forward this weekend to two features in big blocks and sportsmen. So definitely getting a jam-packed show this Saturday night, May 18th, Little League night. Dwight Gooden, come on out. Let's get to our interview. It's Jerry Higbie. Here we go. So here we are at HigFab Chassis with Jerry Higbie, big block modified driver of the number 97, small block modified driver, also number 97. What else?
Big block. Yeah, 97. Handsome Devil car. Orange County. Been there. Be going on almost 30 years in a couple of years. It's been a long career. It's been successful. It's been fun. I love it today as much as I did back then.
So you've 30 years. So you've been doing this about the same time as last week's guest, Craig Mitchell, right?
You know what? Craig and I.
The same time?
Craig and I grew up together.
Right.
Grew up working on actually my dad and my uncle's cars, and my uncle still helps him on his cars and stuff. And we still talk a couple times a week, and we've been friends. It's like a family thing with us too. And he didn't start racing until a little bit later in life. He's probably been racing almost 20 years now, though. You know?
Okay.
Yep. So it's.
But he was working on the cars and with the team.
Oh yeah.
Back, going back
Him and I grew up and developed
okay.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
You know, the know-hows, the abilities. A lot of us kind of grew up together.
Cool.
It's cool.
So how old were you then when you first got into a big block?
I won my first big block feature at Middletown when I was 19.
19.
Yep, 1991. That was the first year.
Had to have been pretty young.
Yeah, it was pretty young, and I hadn't really raced much before that. It was actually my Uncle Gary, my dad's brother, who got me involved, the guy that still helps Hollywood. And he said, hey, let's get a car going together if you want to race, man. It's a good time to start right now. And I was like, wow. So we did that. The first year I just kind of cruised around the back, and Stevie Botcher was driving for him at the time. Bobby Botcher, who they had out to the Speedway last week, it was his son. It's his son, Stevie, who was with him last week. He raced for my dad and them at the time, and he kind of took me under his wing and helped me to learn the ropes and stuff like that. So it was cool. Good start to a career.
So your father and his brother were Bobby Botcher's car owners, right? They owned the number 97
They owned the 97
that he drove
back in like 70, I'm going to say 77, 78, 79, 80, 81. And when he retired, basically Stevie Botcher took over. Mm-hmm. So there was like 13 or 14 years worth of the Botcher name in my dad, my Uncle Gary's cars back then. And before that, Bobby Botcher drove the 666 that we actually did a tribute for last week.
Yeah, that was really cool.
It was cool. Yeah, it's fun. Fun stuff. I love doing that because I'm old enough to know a lot of the history of Orange County, and through my dad, I know a lot more of it and his friends. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty lucky with that. And then at the same time, a lot of my customers, I got teenage kids that are just getting involved in the sportsman stuff, so I can stay current, but still know a lot about the history of Speedway.
Yeah, you get it all.
Which is cool, and I can pass a lot of it on to my son.
Which is why it's awesome to talk to you for this podcast, because right. I mean, I like to talk to guys about the history of the Speedway, but I also like to talk about what's going on now. And,
and that's exactly where I'm at. I'm absorbing and taking in everything that's happening new, and alongside my dad and with my son with me also, it's been really unique because my dad remembers it in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And then, he had his heyday with his cars really in the 70s and the 80s. And then with me, we got real strong, late 90s and throughout 2000s, we've been real good there together, my dad and I. So it's cool to get all that together and watch my dad try to absorb some of the changes that come in, and myself and my son, with all the new apps and stuff like that you guys are always coming out with. My son's the first ones to get a hold of this stuff and teach us a little bit about it. Of course, my dad's got a flip phone, so he's not going to ever have any of that kind of thing. But he's into it, and he certainly likes to see the growth that Orange County's having right now. So it's cool. He's seeing it come. Really going to see it come full circle.
Yep. Yeah. So your son is starting his racing career too this year, right?
Yeah, we've tried to start it 5 times this year, but it's been rained out at Accord. So tomorrow night's going to be our first night maiden voyage for him. So he's going to, he's learning to race something. He's 15 years old, so he's learning to race something right from the ground up. He's learning to put the car in high gear and learning how to just maneuver it around the speedway. He hasn't raced a go-kart, or he hasn't raced a slingshot or nothing like that. So he's learning right from the ground up, and he starts tomorrow night. So
that's cool. So this is his first racing experience is in a modified.
He's going to be actually a great sportsman. He's going to run the rookie class up to Accord, so it'll be fun. It'll be a good year for him to learn, and I'd like to, as soon as he gets up to speed, I'd like to kind of move him up the ranks a little bit with some of the other equipment that we have. If he likes it, and if it's something that he wants to dedicate himself to, we can give him a lot of knowledge and get his ball rolling a little bit quicker than what most kids could.
Cool. Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate what's going on with the rain at Accord. we've been suffering from it too, but at least we've been able to get our races in. That's
the northeast weather. I mean, you're going to go from rain right almost to a drought within a month or two of itself. So you go from having stuff that's too wet to race on and cars getting stuck in the parking lot to holy crap, it's so dry it's hard to keep water on it. So it's northeast weather. Mm-hmm. you get all 4 seasons sometimes in a week. You can't you got to play it. You do what you can. And Middletown's been fortunate to get most of the races in, despite how wet the surface is and the ground is. And
I think this time last year we'd lost a couple of races already.
Yes, so. I think we've been pretty lucky, really. It's been raining on Friday, it's been raining on Sunday, but Saturdays have been pretty clear. So it's been a lucky year so far for Orange County.
Yeah, so you said your son is he's just going to the modifieds, right, or in the sportsman modified. Did you start with anything before modifieds either? Like, did you race karts or
I raced a go-kart
or anything?
A buddy of mine broke his collarbone on a go-kart when I was like 15, and he took me racing. We raced probably maybe a half a dozen, maybe 10 races together, Hank Katz, and he kind of got me going. And I said, boy, from there I'd love to race someday when I get a little bit older. And that's really all I did. I didn't grow up racing go-karts. I raced a go-kart very, very little when I was little. Maybe 6, 7 years old a little bit. But I was always on 3-wheelers, always racing around the Odysseys and trails, and I was always a daredevil. Growing up, Evel Knievel was one of my heroes. So, I got a lot of stitches because of that. And it's that certainly carries on to today. Now I'm 47 years old and ready to get stitches anytime doing what I do.
Hopefully a little less like inspired by Evel Knievel though, maybe more
a little less. I mean, it's I'm watching it now, other people going through that kind of stuff, watching Anthony Prego go in the corner and have that thing on 2 wheels and up off the ground and all that kind of thing, and then him telling me, hey, you got to try this suspension I've got, this is unbelievable, blah 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 blah. And I try it and I go out for hot laps and I come in and I just say, boy, I gotta take this thing apart. I can't drive it because I'm an old man, I didn't know I was this old, but I am.
So what's the difference kind of between what Anthony uses and what you use then in a suspension setup?
Anthony runs a Teal Pro car, which that's a company that's been building cars since the early mid '90s, but it's a suspension that they've developed from some other companies and stuff like that. Him and Matt Hearn, and it's really given him an advantage, and he knows what he wants to feel, and he knows how to get there. But I think it's a rough, tough, aggressive thing that you've got to drive. His driving style, the kid can really do anything with the race car. He can be as smooth as can be, and he can really throttle it in there. So, for him, it really fits him good. But for me, I don't know if it would. It's a little bit bizarre for me. I like it a little bit smoother, and I'm sure probably Brett Hearn, if you have him on your podcast, will probably tell you the same thing. Some of these kids today,
I was going to say, Brett
and
Hearn's
some of the
in a
stuff
TO
that
too.
They're doing. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's not into doing what Anthony's doing.
Right.
I don't know that for a fact, but I see his car, and it doesn't look anything like it. And you can kind of tell who's got it and who doesn't. Tyler Dipple, very similar to what Anthony has, very similar setup. So it's, for me, it's a little bit too aggressive. I like to be a little bit smoother around there, me and Hetzler and Hearn. And, we're going to attack Orange County probably a little bit different than he does. And some nights it's going to pay off, some nights it's not going to. But that's racing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's paid off.
And we're not really
at some point.
We're not like NASCAR. Our big block division at Middletown's not a spec class. If you got a suspension design or you have anything you want to try, you certainly can put it underneath there and try it. So that's a cool thing. So you do get a lot of different speeds and you get a lot of different looks in the cars. You look at two cars, they're not handling the same. They may be within a tenth or two of lap times of one another, but they look dramatically different.
Yeah, no, I hear a lot about like how a lot of guys are going to coil-over cars and stuff now.
And that's what Parego's running. He's running coil-over stuff. And now when you got a bumpy track, like this early season track that we've got at Middletown, when it's bumpy, it's going to really load and unload a lot quicker than what we run now is a torsion bar suspension, and it's a lot softer feel. It'll handle the bumps a lot better. So, right now we may have a little bit of an advantage over Anthony, even though he's got a super fast car, but when the track gets smoothed out, he's gonna probably have a leg up on a lot of guys because you can get a lot of grip with the coil springs and stuff like that. So it's cool to see a lot of the different variations. And
it definitely makes it more interesting, right? Like the NASCAR say, where it's
right, NASCAR, it's more or less exactly. It's a cookie cutter. Here's
right.
the body you're running. Here's the carburetor stuff you're running. Here's the intake you're running. It's made it a little bit different, but now NASCAR's looking into some other rules and other packages to make their racing better, to get the cars to handle differently, and make the drivers have to get up on the wheel a little bit different. So.
I mean, sometimes you hear like from people that the bodies on modifieds now are like a little too cookie cutter.
Well, I got a call last night from George Johnson, who's a tech guy at Middletown, and he says, I'm just giving a call to all the chassis builders. We're going to start coming down on some of the bodies. Some of the bodies are getting a little bit too big for the rule book. Some of the bodies are getting little different angles and stuff like that. And we've had the same rule book basically since the early '90s. It hasn't changed. So guys are starting to get out of the box a little bit with it. I don't see anything too crazy at Middletown. We're trying to, pretty much when you look at all the cars and they look a little bit similar, it's because most of all of our bodies are built at the maximum width. They're built at the maximum height. They're built at the maximum angle. So what you're seeing there is like the maximum of the rule book.
Right.
I haven't seen a car that's been built to the minimum of the rule book in a long time. And it would look different. Because there are 4, 5, 6 inch parameters in some cases on widths and heights and things like that. But right now we're building our chassis as narrow as we can so that we can get the wings that go up the sides of the car as wide as we can and get as much air out in the back of the car as we can. The downforce we're creating in the back is huge. Yeah. Now when you look at some of the TO Pro cars, like with Anthony's car stuff, they've got a real stiff, deep deck. The Higfab cars that we're building have got a deep rear deck in the back. But some of the other cars, the Bicknells and stuff like that, they have a little shallower deck. Everybody's attacking it a little bit different, but it's it's a few inches here and a few inches there, and I'm not positive all the fans in the stands really can see that. But
you can, I mean, if you're there every week and you're always looking at the cars, you definitely start to notice little differences. A fan can tell a TO versus a and then you maybe start looking at like when the cars were built. That's when you start to not know, like which is that a newer style or is that an older style?
For most of the part, I'd say for most of the fans in the stands, you can look at the window style in the back, and you can tell like when you look at Stu's car and you look at Matt Janiak, they got DKMs or big blocks. They have a certain window style. The TO has a certain window style. The Bicknell has a certain window style. The Higfab has a certain window style. The Troyer has. That's probably your first indication. Yeah. And then the other thing is the front bumpers are a little bit different. You can look at the nose pieces and things like that. They look a little bit different. And if you want to be a little bit of a connoisseur of it, you really can see it pretty quickly. And then you got other guys that, once in a while, Rick Lawback will come to Middletown swinging there. He builds all his own stuff, so he has his own spin on the body. So whether it's a Bicknell or a Teal, you got to look at what he's driving because he's got a little bit of everything.
Right, and I'm sure some of these guys probably do a little bit of Frankensteining too.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, you start with a Higfab,
absolutely.
You start bending and breaking, and
we have
kind of start patching.
We
things
have some,
up on your own.
We have some Higfab cars that have like Bicknell outside skin on it, which would just totally mind alter people when they're looking at some of their cars. We had a kid that won last week up at Woodhall, and we put his picture up, and it's like clearly a sort of a Bicknell body onto it, but it's our car.
You guys
and he's a
good
customer.
Both take credit for the win,
so
or
it's,
how does that work?
It's interesting, but it's racing's a free enterprise. You do what you
Right.
want with what you've got, and most of the times it comes down to economics. When they've got a buddy that can build and they've got Bicknell patterns they can copy, that's what they've got. So.
And everything's kind of like a la carte, right? I mean, when it comes to the parts,
absolutely.
On the car, I mean,
absolutely.
You could
mix
and match. And
we build a lot of our Bicknell stuff, so they're interchangeable with the TO stuff and the Bicknell stuff to keep it a little bit friendlier for the customers that can come by and buy stuff without having
because you could run a
to buy
Higfab
all of our
chassis and
product.
still have a lot of Bicknell parts.
Exactly, and that was what we set out to do as a racer. To go out there and say, okay, you can use a lot of the parts that you have on our car. You don't have to just buy. You don't have to spend an additional $6,000 or $7,000 to buy all the other parts. It'd be nice, we do offer those parts also if you want to go a full blown Higfab conversion. But we try to make it as free as we can to make people not have to spend quite so much to get rolling in our products.
Right.
Yep. And that's worked out well for us. Yeah.
So when was Higfab Chassis founded?
Well, I've been in business since 2003, building bodies, bumpers, things like that. And then in 2011, actually, is when I started, almost 2012, started building the chassis. And I built one, and then Jackie Brown was a friend of mine back then, and we decided to build a second one. And then one became two, and then two became four, and four became eight. It just exponentially just grew. And now we just did 42 cars this winter, and we actually just built our 325th car. So We've come a long way. We've got a lot of cars out there, and we have them everywhere. We have a couple of them in Australia. We've got a couple in Quebec. We've got stuff in Delaware. We've got them everywhere.
Isn't it interesting how we're a regional sport? We're in the Northeast, and then also Australia.
Yeah, it is interesting. And for a while
neat.
There, we actually had them like in Texas or Louisiana. There was like a couple tracks that had them, which is it's kind of weird and
a little bit down south.
It's kind of weird and kind of bizarre. They're trying to get something going in Florida, but yeah, it is funny that Australia really is big on our racing, and we do talk to a lot of the Australians. Like Facebook and things like that have made that easier for us to see that connection.
Yeah, we have Australian
and even to
people
message.
that follow our Facebook.
Yeah,
and
absolutely, because you have
a
lot of races over there that are running exactly the same cars we are, and then of course I was hoping to get Peter Britton to run Orange County this year. He's Australian.
We had to let the other guys have.
Well, somebody's got to have some stuff. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't want to. We were hoping to steal away all the nice guys.
Yep.
But,
so he ended up going to Lebanon or wherever he went. But we got Australian guys that do come over here during the season because their seasons.
And we'll see him for the Super Dirt.
Oh, absolutely. I'm
series
sure
in
whenever
Eastern
he can come down.
States,
We've got so many good events at Orange County that we're gonna have the best of the best down there at one point or another for sure.
I mean, that's would it have been awesome? Yeah. I mean, the Batman is a pretty cool guy, and it would have been cool to see him at Orange County. But
yeah, he'll be down. Yep. Crazy to miss it weekly, really. The money and all the activities we got going on. Once you get the track nailed down to where it's going to be, I think we already have the best thing going right now with all the stuff that's happening, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you built Grant Hilfiger's car. Grant is a new to Orange County Fair Speedway this year in the sportsman class. He's already kind of made waves. He's won 2 features. He's leading in the points. How do you know Grant, and do you know anything about kind of his reason for coming to Middletown?
I've actually I've known Grant for quite a while, probably 10, 15 years. I've been friends with Grant, and last year we started selling him some cars, and he was racing, and he was running up the Woodhall, running here, running there. He's actually, from where we're sitting here at Higfab, he's about 40, 45 minutes away. So his actual geographical closest track is Orange County. Mm-hmm. So this winter, he's like, well, I think I might run Penn Can, I might do this, I might do that. I said, no, listen, I have an idea for you, Grant. I said, you got to come to Orange County. I said, we've got a good sportsman class there. I said, we have a great neighborhood you can park with us. We have the best Saturday night neighborhood. Mm-hmm. With Howie Finch, with us, with the Falangas, with the Smiths, we have the best place to park, the friendliest environment. I said, I can give you a hand with your car anytime you need. I said, I think you'd have a good time. They're going to offer more money this year than they've ever offered. The place is on the up and up. It's growing and growing and growing. They need you, and I think you'd have a good time. Well, yeah, I don't know. Let me talk to my dad and that and see what, I don't know. So he would text me every day. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I don't know. It might be a good idea, huh? I'm like, well, I think you'll have a good time. I really do. I think it's a better track to race at than anywhere. It's close to you. So what ended up happening is we ended up building the car here and the whole car, and we went that opening day for that Deo show right out of this shop, and he really put a whooping on him.
Yeah.
And, there's nothing funner than going to a track the first time and winning.
Right. Showing up in an unlettered car.
Right. He didn't know
who's this guy.
He didn't have a clue who he was racing against. He had no idea. So after that, he says, maybe we'll keep it at your shop. And weekly we'll come up with some money and whatever we've got to do for you to handle the day-to-day stuff. And I'll send a couple of my guys out, if they want to work on race cars, and they can help you out, or I'll take it home when we've got time or whatever. So all of a sudden we won the first one, we won the second one, and we're running it right out of the shop here. And of course, we do it with Howie Finch, and I introduced the two of those guys together, and it's like one of them found the other one's long-lost brother. It's interesting. So right now, we've got a good thing going with what's happening.
So if you're a fan that likes to go into the pits, definitely go check out the pit area here where these guys are
absolutely.
hanging out.
You got to come down to pits.
Yeah,
it's cool.
You definitely want to hang out with these guys.
So
it's fun.
It's been fun. It's been cool, and we made a lot of connections for Grant, and then we made a lot of connections with Grant. So it's cool, And now we're all having a good time, and of course we're going to be coming into the summer, and we've got Howie into the top 5 of points, and we've got Grant leading the points and right there in the hunt, and Jared LeBas is also one of our customers who's right across town, and he's here a lot, and he's friends with those guys. So we've got a nice little team based here right now with the Sportsman division, and then Danny Morgevich is right down the street, and he's here all the time, and we've got a whole bunch of guys that are giving us a lot of excitement. Here at the shop.
You guys are the Higfab chassis are dominating the Sportsman points right now.
We're hanging tough right now. In our big block stuff, there's really only a couple of us with the big blocks.
Right.
So we don't have strength in numbers with that, and we don't have strength in numbers necessarily in the Sportsman either.
Right. Yeah.
But
Tio has strong.
Tio, I'd say
numbers,
probably
right?
has about the most cars. I would
yeah.
say. Tios and Bicknells are pretty heavy there. Although everybody's stuff is fast and can be fast on any given night.
Right.
But I think it's cool that the racetrack and you guys came up with a plan for the constructors championship type of thing,
right.
and
they
do it in Formula One, they do it in NASCAR, doing all that,
yeah.
And it's cool. It gives us something to follow along, and gives us stuff to kind of prod along our customers. Say, hey man, we gotta get going, and these customers saying here, yeah. Tio's whooping our butt.
And
here.
I don't think it hurts anyone to say, I only came in third, but it's like you're talking about, well, you only had a handful of cars out on the track.
Racing is competition. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's cool. And if Troyer or DCAM, all these guys are getting up and working just as hard as we are. Mm-hmm. And there's so much work out there for everybody. Everybody's busy.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's no reason for one company to dislike the other company or anything else. Of course, you're taking a customer from them, and then they're taking a customer from you. And it all irons out. I've been doing it long enough to realize that Bicknell took some from me. I took some from him.
You guys all end up at the same place every Friday or Saturday night.
Right.
You got to get along.
When I first started, I built 325 cars. So I took 325 cars from somebody that was going to build them. You know what I mean? And when Tio first started, he took from Olson or whatever. And, Bicknell took from this one. That's just how it works. That's business, But we've all got a mutual respect. And I think the Constructors Championship deal is a pretty cool idea.
Yeah. It was something that Chris Larson was like, well, why aren't we doing this? We got to do this.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
It's like when when I was rebuilding our website and getting everything, we were figuring out what the new look would be. And we were, considering an app as well. And, I said, well, hell yeah, we're going to put the points, points for builders up on the website.
Yeah.
Why not?
There's no downside to it. It's cool.
Yeah, it's
cool.
It's just, that's one of my missions, in creating this podcast and everything. It's all just like about creating content for the fans to enjoy.
Yeah.
We race once a week, and then we have an off season. It's not like you guys stop working on race cars in the off season, or you're not working on race cars all week.
Exactly.
The fans, there's still plenty of stuff for the fans to keep up with and watch as it's
Yeah, the more interactive you can make it, the more the fans can be involved. The better off our sport's going to be.
Right.
The better off everybody is. And it's a good thing.
Yeah, because you can't just turn it on and off. It's not like when Eastern States wraps up, you flick the switch and everybody's like, now, we don't even, racing's over. We'll see you in April. Like, it's like,
when we flip the switch and close it down, that's when my agita starts. That's when my headaches start. My busy season is when we shut it down. It's crazy busy.
Yeah, and there's the fans are just as interested in seeing what's going on behind the scenes. I think seeing what's going on in the shops.
I think the more you can show people what's going on,
builders,
and put people's faces with the cars and things like that, the better off the race fan is, the better off the racers are, the better off the racetrack is.
Right.
You
have to, in promoting a track, you have to kind of help these stories form, right? I mean, the story comes from the racing, and the racing is what it is, and you never know what's going to happen, but you have to kind of help along these stories sometimes.
Oh, you absolutely do.
When you have like a moment where in that big block race, that when Anthony passing Mike Goulart there on that last lap. I mean, and some fans might be thinking from day one, like, oh, last year's Grandview champion and our champion from last year, this is automatically the rivalry. Yeah. But not everybody knows,
right.
And if you don't expose people to that idea that like these are two championship drivers battling it out, on the last lap for the lead, that's excitement. Like, and that's what people want to see.
Yep.
And you just. Both great guys.
Exactly.
But we want to see them battle it out.
Exactly.
And
that's exactly what you want. You want to see a heavyweight. You want to see a heavyweight.
Somebody wants the other
championship fight. Yep. You don't want to see just a couple guys you don't know who they are out in the playground fighting around. It's
right. And we have we do have a ton of competitors in Orange County. We have such high car counts that it is a massive undertaking to even begin to expose all these guys. We
are pretty fortunate to have what we have, and it's tough
because you want to make sure that your guys in small block and sportsmen as well feel like that they're being
And I think once the season develops and we get more weeks under our belt, there's going to be more names that are going to surface, and there's going to be so many more people. With the qualifying formats that you have going right now, and the handicapping and the sportsman stuff, it's going to bring a lot of other names, a lot of different names to the forefront. And that's what you want. It's not the same old all the time. And, like a Grant Hilfiger comes into the sportsman class, but then, the last two were won by Greg Slate, who won the points last year. So, he's not going down without a fight. So it's cool, And
at any week here, a guy like Jared LeBach.
Exactly. You're going to have Jared LeBach pop in there.
Too,
exactly right. And Jimmy Johnson, he won 4 or 5 races last year. This year has had a terrible. Jesse Libby, same thing. Win 4 or 5 races last year, and this year it's been a tough year. So these guys are going to surface, and they're going to put a good race on. And at some point they're going to rub horns and lock horns with some of these other guys and make some exciting stuff happen. So it's, to me, that's the cool stuff. In our small block division, we've only had 2 features so far. Perego got wrecked real hard in the first one, and then the second one, he got not qualified that good and finished 6th or whatever. But he's going to surface and be a player in it. And all of our divisions are competitive. Right, just about right to the last lap. It's shown it. And it's only going to get better as the track surface and as the ground starts drying up a little bit. It's just going to keep getting better and better.
Yeah, I mean, I've been, from as a fan, from a fan perspective, I've been really enjoying the racing that's been going on.
Yeah, I mean, behind the wheel,
exciting.
Behind the wheel. I mean, we're able to just throw the cars down in there. You know what I mean? And that's cool. A little bit rough here and there, but you know what?
Right.
Rough slows it down a little. Our cars can handle rough. There's no tracks out there we're not racing on pavement, you know. It gets to a point where it gets to be a little bit too rough or a little bit too dusty, and that's when it gets a little tricky for the fans and the racers. But that's all going to be curbed. It's all going to be fixed. That's just time. Yeah. That's all it is. You just got to just wait for it to come around. It's going to come around.
Yeah. I mean, right now you are amongst like a handful of guys right now that I feel like are just like I have a list of just like all these guys are going to win a feature at some point here. But
wins are tough to come by in Orange County. You know, it's tough. I mean,
when was your last?
I didn't win last year. I won the year before. It's tricky. 17 was my last win. And I've gone years where I've won 3 or 4 in a year and then not won anything the following year, but yet won the points. It's tricky.
Yeah,
it's a
we
tricky.
had Crummell last year.
It's
in
a tricky place.
Win points without a win.
Exactly, without a win.
It's entirely possible.
That shows your consistency.
Right.
And sometimes,
even Greg Slate, he didn't win till almost the last night of the season. I think, right?
I don't even know, but I think
he only had one feature win towards the end.
I already this season see it developing with Brett Hearn. You know, it's 40,000 to win the big block points. That last week or 2 weeks ago, we had 2 or 3 restarts in that last lap, and he was running third, and he would get up alongside me, but never really throw himself in there. Right. He's a guy you can win some of the battles, but he wants to win the war.
So you think Brett Hearn's kind of playing a patient game?
Well, I just think
now?
he's one of the smartest guys down there, and he's not going to put his nose where it doesn't belong,
right. Well,
especially
I've heard
early,
early
in the season. And then when things start to iron out, he's going to show you his true grit and show you his speed. But for now, he's going to secure himself up front in the points and say, okay, I'm the guy you're going to have to beat in the points. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You might have won that race this week, Junior, but you got you know, you want to win the points, you're going to have to be consistent like I am in the top 5, top 10.
Yeah.
And that's what he's established already. So, it's tough. And I think I mentioned it when I was on the radio earlier, but this Saturday night in the Heldover, he's going to be starting 24th or 25th, and that's going to be a test for him.
And that's a $6,000 race.
Right,
so
right.
Yeah,
so to me, his first goal is to, A, finish, don't get wrecked,
right.
B, get in the top 10, C, if I'm fast enough, get in the top 5. Our races are quick. So the past 24 cars in 30 laps is really nobody's done it in probably the last 30 years.
Well, if you
I
ask
don't
some
even
of
know.
if you ask some of the fans, especially the Brett Hearn haters, they'll say he's right where he belongs and he'll be able to pass them all because he cheats. And
I think it's
he'll get to the front no matter where you put him.
I was watching him lead that heat last week, and then I saw him get a flat, and I went, that's not good. Yeah. That's not good for qualifying for him. So you know what? For a fan, that's going to be a treat. For Brett, it's going to be oh man, what am I doing? Let me get my backup car ready in case I get wrecked here, and that's you know what I mean. So. Yeah. It's interesting, but I like seeing stuff like that, and I start 9th, and I hope I don't see Brett. I just want to get forward a little bit and see what I can do. Yep, but it should be good. The held-over stuff sometimes gets crazy. First night, first race out, sometimes you get some sun glare on 3 and 4. It presents a little bit of different challenges to you than what a regular night show does. Sometimes the tire wear is a little bit different. Sometimes the tire prep has to be a little bit different as far as what you do with the rubber on your tire, siping it and sanding it and stuff like that. So, see what happens. Should be cool. Yep.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's this weekend is gonna be crazy. Can't wait for
It's gonna be a lot of racing. To me, the highlight of my whole night is gonna be I'm gonna try to get up there and see Dwight Gooden. I want to meet. I was there for the first game he pitched when I was a kid. My dad used to take us to the Met games all the time.
Awesome.
So I was like probably 13, 14 years old. I remember seeing him pitch his first game. So that was pretty cool. So
yeah, I mean,
I'm sure he'll remember me.
Yeah, I wonder what he'll think of. I wonder what he'll think of the racing. It's always we had the football guys.
Yeah, and I mean, for all those guys, it's got to be almost like a culture shock.
Yeah,
I never saw anything like this before. They're used to living in the cities and being around all the athletic stuff and all that kind of thing. Now you come up kind of in the woods to come see these backyard guys out here and say, what is this? But
actually, kind of weirdly on that topic, I was trying to do some research this week. We're doing. Our promotion this week is Little League night, and so that's kids in sports uniforms. I mean, we have MLB player coming, and there's an interesting historical connection. Our first year of operation as a car racing track, 1919, is also the same year that Babe Ruth was traded from the Yankees.
Wow.
So it was kind of a big year for New York
interesting
sports.
For sports.
Right?
Yeah.
It was also the first year, apparently, that a Sunday baseball game was played in New York.
Okay.
Because that was previously illegal. Right?
Okay.
So 1919, weirdly kind of, important year for sports in New York.
Yeah.
And then I started to uncover a little bit more and found out that Babe Ruth spent time in Orange County.
He did.
At Greenwood Lake.
Yeah, he did.
And,
I remember hearing.
And I'm thinking, this guy hung out at Greenwood Lake.
Yeah.
He was a sportsman. He loved golf. He loved, not just baseball.
Yep.
He also liked to gamble. Was this guy at Orange County Fair Speedway?
It makes you wonder.
Makes
you wonder. I know there was some ties. There was some ties to him right here in Goshen. There was some ties to him back then too.
Yeah.
And there was some pictures and stuff from when he was in Goshen and things like that. So you know what? His feet might have been in Orange County Fairgrounds. I wouldn't doubt it one bit.
That's what I
wonder.
Why not? I mean, if any guys listening, older guys that have been, fans of the track for a long time, if you happen to know anything,
how neat would that be to find a picture of that or something?
Yeah, I mean, even just the story, pictures are few and far between. But even if somebody told me that they knew he was there, I'd be inclined to believe it.
Yeah, that'd be neat. That'd be really neat.
But just interesting, just the way 1919, and you think about like the history of the track, and we have plenty of fans that were around in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and but going back even further, it almost becomes like 1919. That was like a totally different time. We're not talking about any of the same stuff.
Talking about exactly right.
And you put it in perspective, 1919 was the Treaty of Versailles, the end of World War One.
A little bit before the Depression. So
You know,
that
it
means
was like-
raced through the Depression and survived the Depression somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
the
don't think
history.
I have anything in my life that's as
No.
old as the track
No.
is.
No,
you know?
absolutely not. I think my grandmother was born in 1912 or something like that. My dad's mother, and it's like, wow.
Right.
My other grandmother, 1930.
Yeah, I don't. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, my relatives probably weren't even Americans yet.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
1919. I don't think
Yeah.
they might. Yeah.
Could be.
You know,
a little while after Titanic, right?
It's
Yeah.
just it's kind of mind-boggling.
It is.
And
Yeah.
I'd like to figure out, some way, like, what was who was there, or who living now was there for like the oldest event, right?
Right.
I mean, like,
what's your earliest
like
time
was there
you've
somebody
ever
that was
been there?
Like I talked with Joe Romer for the podcast, and I guess he was probably, as a kid, he was there.
Absolutely.
Late 50s.
Sure.
So
Yep.
I mean, that's
Yep.
and he has
That's what
stories and memories.
My dad
from
was
back then.
50s, late 50s,
You
and
know,
things like that. Yep.
Is anybody alive who remembers the 40s?
Exactly.
I don't know. You
Yeah.
know?
You're going to have to find somebody that's 80, 90 years old that
Yeah.
may or may not. Yeah. We're 8, 9, 10 years old that were there.
Yeah,
They got to be out there, I'm
It's
sure.
got to be somebody.
Yeah. Boy, that's cool. Digging
Yeah,
all that. And
yeah, I mean-
with Nostalgia Night coming up in a few weeks, all that stuff can be celebrated.
Yeah.
You look at the work of Doug Dogarian and that. And
Right.
I don't know if he's still around anymore, but that Pete Kessler was always a historian for the place. And I haven't seen him in probably the last 8 or 10 years, but he really knew a lot about when it was Victory Speedway and this and that
Yeah.
and all the different phases that it went through. And he was really into it. And if he could ever get involved again, that would be
Yeah,
That would be an
I'll
asset.
have to look him up.
yeah. That's definite, without a doubt.
So one thing I noticed, I was looking at last year's Nostalgia Night poster, right, and looking at all the illustrations of the classic guys with all their win numbers and stuff, and I noticed you among them, and I think it's do you have like a sense of pride about like the
I
fact
have-
that like you're the youngest guy?
It's-
I would say that's amongst the nostalgia class,
Yeah, it's-
right? Or the
it's-
guys that we
it's-
look
yeah,
back on.
yeah, no, I definitely know where you're
But you're
coming
not
from.
an older guy. I mean,
I
you're not,
definitely
you
know exactly where you're coming from, because it's funny because I remember the first feature that I won. It was about 7 years before I won another feature. So I sat there with one feature win at the bottom part of that list there for about 7 years, and remember looking at it and saying, man, if I could only get the second win,
Yeah.
And then the last 10 or 12 or 15 years to win 20 some races and get up there amongst the likes of Bobby Botcher and these guys. It's something I look at. It's something that I value. It's something that I respect. It's something that I really feel a lot of pride in.
Yeah, you're on the charts.
And to have won the Eastern States 200 and then the Eastern States Small Block 150 and things, and I've won I think 4 the Big Block Point Championships and 3 Small Block ones there, and I look back and I say to myself, wow, I'm so happy that I did it. So much work, so many people that have helped me. I mean, there's literally been hundreds of people that have helped me through the course of my career. I could never even probably name them all if I tried. And it's so much more than just me. My family and how much they've dedicated to racing and things like that. It's just those wins and to be amongst those guys, to me, it represents all those people, not just me. You know what I mean? I just got to steer it and got to be, probably the biggest part of it. But
Right.
for
You
me,
share,
it
you
just,
share that with
so many people. I
yeah.
can't even describe it to you. I have so many people that help me now. I mean, the guy that works on my car the hardest is 81 years old. His name is Jimmy Walker, and he probably will listen to this podcast. He's on Facebook. He's on all of it. Never misses a race at Middletown and Accord. He drove for my dad in the mid 70s, and he's got a feature win or two in the big block. I do it for him. I remember the first time I sat on a go-kart in my backyard, he was helping to tune the motor. Well, tonight at about 5 o'clock, he'll be helping to tune my big block for Saturday night. And this is a guy that's 40, 50 years of his life he's been helping us. So it's for guys like that. Mr. K's carpet service that's on our car. He's been with my dad since 1980,
Mr. K's is on all those older cars,
1982, 1983 he's been.
Right.
And he's here every night. And you know what? When I win, he gives me a hug. And when I don't win, he gives me a hug. You know what I mean? And we do it all together. And we're in such a fortunate place to do what we're doing. So those wins are just far beyond just me.
Yeah.
And for my dad, you know what I mean, to have enjoyed all of them with me and things like that. And my son, my kids, to be able to enjoy them all with me. You know what I mean? It's all about all that stuff.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
You have a son and a daughter?
Son and a daughter. Yep, my daughter's, she just got done cheerleading. She's a senior, and she's going to go on to college next year, wants to be a teacher. And then my son's going to start racing Cody, and then he's got a few years before he graduates. He's only 15, but both, academically I couldn't ask for more, and as kids I couldn't ask for more, and very proud of them and everything they do. It's cool.
They're going to carry on the legacy.
If they want to, they will. My son will no doubt stay involved in racing, whether he stays involved as a driver. We're going to find that out probably a little bit tomorrow when he hits the track and likes it or not. And if he likes it, the sky's the limit for him. If he doesn't like it, he can always be a part of our racing, and then he can carry on the tradition and own race cars and whatever he wants from there on. So he's in a good spot too. And my daughter is always a part of my racing. She doesn't miss a race, and her boyfriend's a motocross racer and into the motocross stuff in Orange County and everywhere else, and she's always doing that stuff. And lucky, we've got a nice family thing that goes on here.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes it all, like, that's the best part, right?
That's the best part. And you really need to have all that to make it work. You have to have those people behind you. You look out through the course of the years, how many people Brett has had in his corner and how many people he's driven for. And same thing, his family members that are into him. His brother builds the cars. His dad and his mom are at all the races. I mean, it's no matter how old you are, how long you've been doing it, it's still the same type of group, and when these guys win races, same thing with Anthony Prego, with his dad is with him every week in and week out since he was a little kid, and he enjoys every win with them and every loss with them too, so it's everybody's got it. When Grant comes out on Saturday, it's him and it's his dad and it's his dad's buddy and it's a whole bunch of people that are standing behind Grant. Everybody's got him.
They seem like a great family. I've noticed Grant posts on Facebook quite a bit. And,
awesome family.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be loving it. I love the way that they've been just. It's really cool.
No, it's an interesting thing. And then Howie Finch, Howie's got a booth at Middletown, and his grandparents go up every week to sit in that booth, and his uncle goes up and sit in that booth, and you know what I mean? Everybody's got the support system, and you need it. And everybody, when they win, they all get to enjoy it together. It's cool. That's the best part about our sport. You're not just a baseball player going out and hitting the ball and everybody looking at you, whether you hit it or not.
Right.
It's a big thing. When we take to the track on a Saturday night, you've got Handsome Devil Barbecue with Ed helping us and, Howie helping us on our big block, and just a little list of names. I mean, I drove for people in the 90s, the Shaver family. They're still on my car. They own Beaver Kill Trout Hatchery. They're still there. That's one of my
favorite sponsors.
It's 20-some years that they've been helping us. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And Freddie Shaver's with us every week, him and his kids. They're with us every week. So, we're representing people like him. SKJ Towen's been painting and helping us for same thing. There's pictures of Bobby Botcher in Victory Lane in the late 70s, and Johnny Besaw's in the background of all the pictures. They've been with us 40-some years. It's crazy. But when I pull on a track, I give them a wave every week. They're a part of what we do. It's a cool sport, man. It really is.
It is.
It's about the coolest.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't hear stories like that about any other sport. Right?
No, you don't. You don't. People's careers last a certain period of time, and then boom, that's it. And with us, there's so many more facets of it. Yeah. It's nuts.
Do you think that there's, because obviously we have. I've talked about this before, the age range, 15-year-old competitors in their 70s, and you still see older guys win features.
Oh, absolutely.
You see younger guys win features.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like there's any kind of drop-off? Do you feel like reaction times changes, or like that,
Well, I think the older you get in our
tired quicker.
The older you get in our sport, I think, take a guy like Richie Urich, 70, 71 years old. I talked to Richie throughout the winter, talked to Richie quite a bit, and, he does a lot of walking, tries to keep himself physically in shape. I'm sure that a little bit of his reactions have calmed down a little bit. But in our sport, Hetzler, same way. He's like probably entering his 60s. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
But you realize when you get older, Brett Hearn is 60. He's 60 years old. You enter a sport, you start to realize it's a rolling chess match. It's not as much. Let me throw it down in there as an Evil Knievel type thing.
So
it's not as much of that as you think.
As the mind develops, you get better and better.
Right. The sport slows down for you. It starts to get slower. You realize how fast you're going when you crash, you wreck. It takes you longer for your neck to feel better and your shoulders to feel better and things like that. But, of course, Anthony Prego, who's an early 20-something, is going to have a better reaction time than me or Richie Urich or one of these guys. And when he gets in some of these cars, he's going to be able to outperform for longer periods of times because of the youth. But I don't, on a normal Saturday night racing, I think Richie Urich going in tomorrow night's got just as much a chance of winning a feature as I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
He can be very fast, shows a lot of speed,
that's what makes
lot of nights.
That's part of what makes it such a good show for the fans, too.
Exactly. And then you look at, 358 class, the little Dylan Stewart there. I don't even know how old he is.
He's young
but
guy,
he's young. He's 14, 15 years old, and he gets out there you would not know you're looking at a 14 or 15-year-old behind the wheel.
Yeah,
That kid is elbows up.
I saw a picture of him and I said, "Oh, he's just a guy."
You ever want to watch a good thing? Go on Dylan Stewart's Facebook and watch his in-car camera from a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And the kid is just muscled up. I mean, he just goes. Yeah. And then on the other hand, go on Jeff Hetzler Racing's Facebook, go in his cockpit and watch his cockpit and how smooth and how easy he's driving it. Mm-hmm. So you do see a lot of different things from the youth to the older guys.
Yeah.
But same thing. The young kids will win the battles. The old guys will win the war. You know, it seems to be that way.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, Prego won the points last year. You know, I mean, this year it's going to be tough for him.
Right.
You know, and then there's other people that are older than they look, like a Brian Crummell. You know, he's early 40s, been racing 30-some years.
Right.
You know, so you see a guy like him, you say he's a pretty young guy, but been around the sport, racing go-karts and things like that since
he's earned veteran
since
status.
He was 9.
He doesn't. Yeah,
he was 9 or 10 years old when
he
he started racing. You know, but you wouldn't look at him and say, "Oh, look at him, he's old." He's not.
Right, yeah.
You know, and he's the same thing. He gets elbows up in that car, and he's going. You know, and he can drive anything. So we've got a lot of it at Speedway. We've got a big, diverse group of guys that can put it on you any given second.
Incredible talent.
Yeah,
I mean,
we're lucky like that.
You couldn't see this anywhere else.
Nope.
I mean,
no, it's all good. Yeah, without a doubt.
Well, we just flew right through this. We're already almost up to 50 minutes here.
Man,
so let's wrap it up with a fun question.
All right.
If there was a Days of Thunder style movie about the life of Jerry Higbie, who would play you?
Who would play me? You know, my kids told me the one time when they were little, and I just never felt so bad about myself. They told me I looked like Paul Blart, the mall cop. I would hope it wouldn't be him. You know what I mean? But it just might be. I mean, I'd rather it be like James Hunt movie when they had what's his name there? I'd rather him play me, but probably not.
Is that? Is that Tom Cruise or something?
No, Tom Cruise.
That's James Hunt. No, that's Ethan Hunt.
Too short.
I'm thinking of
what was his name? Played. I would rather him play me, but probably not. You know what I mean? You know. People tell me I look like Emerald, the chef. I hope he wouldn't play me either.
Emerald, oh my God.
I don't know.
No, that's funny.
It's not cool. It's really not cool. You know what I mean? I don't even know.
No, you could be like well, I don't know. I mean, the age is tough, but maybe a Jon Favreau or something, maybe, or maybe
yeah, I don't know. Possibly. I don't know. I mean,
Emerald can't do it. He's not a good actor. But
no, I wouldn't think so. Yeah, I don't even know. I got no clue. You know?
Yeah. No, it's funny to think about. There's a Gary Ballou documentary in the works. You know, and I was thinking about man, they should just make a fictional movie about. I mean, it'd be like Blow mixed with Days of Thunder. Yeah, right. It'd be like drug smuggling. And
I know who could play me. Be perfect. Will Ferrell.
Yeah, there you go.
Bingo. He doesn't look that much like me, but they can make him up.
Yeah.
Have him eat some donuts and things. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. But that got me thinking, who would I cast as these drivers? Who was your Gary Ballou, in your Gary Ballou drug running movie? It
was Hemsworth?
Chris Hemsworth.
Yes, one of them. It was him or his brother that played James Hunt, I think. Right?
Okay.
Liam, or is it Liam? One of them played James Hunt. I don't even know. If my girlfriend Sarah was here, she'd spit it right out. Yeah, she would know exactly
Chris is
who it is.
Thor. Liam's
that's
the
him.
Other one. Okay.
Thor, I think it's Thor. Yeah, I would want him to play me, though. You'd have to get the haircut. You'd have to get them all cut.
The guy that's, in the biggest movie ever.
Exactly.
Just made billions of dollars.
Exactly. Yep, it's good stuff. No, I like it.
Yeah, yep. I mean, it's, I think it's fun to think about stuff like that.
Absolutely. Josh Brolin.
There
we go. That would work too. Yep. Yep.
He could do, he'd do Method style and get into the role.
Be all good.
He'd adapt your diet and lifestyle, and then he just kind of becomes you. And
Yep. Eat a lot and get really aggravated. My lifestyle. Work on race cars day and night. Yep.
Well, Jerry, thank you for having me in your shop.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Great conversation, and can't wait to get to racing this weekend.
Yep, me too.
Good luck.
Looking forward to all of it. Orange County's going to be awesome this year. You got to get out there. Yep. Big time.
Come on out, people. You heard it from Jerry Higbie. Take it easy.